now they want to bring biophilic design into the hotel space. The trouble now here begins, the greatest challenge. How can we create the feeling of a forest in the day and then transforming it into a garden at night? As a lighting designer, how do we bridge these different conditions, considering the well-being of the people, the guests, and not having excessive lighting for the plants? Usually, the grow lights are not very pretty. Okay, they give out this hue, this spectrum that's not very nice, and it also consumes a lot of energy. They also have poor optical control. Basically, they can just flood the whole space, and also intense brightness, which is probably not fit for a hotel setting. So with that, we actually researched many brands to try to understand this. We wanted something that can control the beam, that's focused, that's not going all over the place, that's not excessive. And it actually took us a while to find this. And everybody tell us they can all produce grow lights. That's the best part.
Welcome to the Virtual Lighting Design Community Podcast. In today's episode, we're excited to bring you the audio version of Yah Li Toh's fascinating keynote presentation called Exploring Biophilic Design, a Balance for People and Nature, which was recorded at the Guangzhou International Lighting Exhibition back in June 2023. Yah Li takes us on an insightful journey through her biophilic design project within the hotel space, sharing the triumphs and challenges she and her team faced. Yah Li Toh is the principal of Light Collab, a distinguished lighting design firm based in Singapore and a professional member of the IALD. A leading voice in lighting design, she's recognized globally for her pioneering work in biophilic design. For a visual experience, be sure to check out our YouTube channel as well as our online community at www.vld.community for more engaging content and networking. Special thanks, as always, to our premium supporters who are Aero Light, Creative Lighting Asia, ERCO, and the Signify Lighting Academy for their invaluable support. Now, let's hear from Yah Li. Enjoy!
I actually come from Singapore. I'm a lighting designer. I would like to share with everyone here about exploring biophilic design, a balance for people and nature in hospitality situations. Okay, I come from Singapore. I'm quite sure most of you have been to Singapore, hopefully. Yeah, so we are actually a very famous country for, to be known as the Garden City. So what it means for us, outside, we have very amazing greenery outdoors. And we also have greenery on our facades and also terraces. And then it actually progresses much more. Okay, so now we actually bring greenery indoor as well. So you can see here in Singapore, we have quite a few known buildings from our airport to actually some of the notable projects where we started introducing greenery as an effort of sustainable and biophilic design. So in this case, but one of the common things that you have here, we actually have large glass domes and roofs that allow daylight to enter the building. So the story begins. Okay, I'd like to introduce one project that we have recently done, which is the Park Royal Collection at Marina Bay as a showcase. So this was the pre-renovation. It's actually a building which is 39 years old, built by John Portman. So pre-renovation, you can see this is the kind of lighting environment and the space that we have here. So you can see it's pretty dull, okay? And then this is the lighting condition at night, which is not very inspiring for hotel guests. Yeah. So the big vision now, the trouble now here begins, the greatest challenge, is that now they want to bring biophilic design into the hotel space. Okay, so the problem is we do not have much daylight in this condition. Yeah, so as a lighting designer, how do we then, try to bridge these different conditions of, considering the well-being of the people, the guests, and not having excessive lighting for the plants. So interestingly, I have a new client, which is the nature in this space. Yeah. So here, in one of the main spaces in this atrium, we have a few conditions or so. The problem is this space has a very amazing atrium, and we have guest room corridors that can actually view into this indoor garden. And you can see in the earlier images where we have indoor greenery, they are mostly restricted to green walls. And even if they put trees in there, they are usually, with large glass domes where they have ample daylight, abundance of daylight. But in this case, we have a very tiny skylight right up there, and we actually did a measurement. There's not enough daylight, to support these plants. So when we were engaged, we were faced with this challenge like, oh no, what are we gonna do here? Okay. So one of the problems here is like, in this space, people will also mingle around. It's a very important space that can be built from top down and in all directions. So that actually we started embarking and research about, the grow lights. How do we make our new client happy? How do we make the guests happy? How do we make the hotel happy? So we started understanding this, but in Singapore, probably there's a very little case studies or actual projects done, whereby the trees actually depend on grow lights to support this. So the client asked us, are you sure the plants, the trees will remain alive, So that became a real problem for us. Another big challenge also, we can actually see quite a number of grow lights all over, but people do not really understand, what are these grow lights about? And this also poses a lot of important things, like usually the grow lights are not very pretty. Okay, they give out this hue, this spectrum that's not very nice. And it also consumes a lot of energy. They also have poor optical control. Basically, they can just flood the whole space. And also intense brightness, which is probably not fit, for a hotel setting. And also, what is the relationship, of the amount of light that we have and the output, and also versus about what the guest actually feels and what the plants actually need. So with that, we actually researched many brands to try to understand this. We wanted something that can control the beam, that's focused, that's not going all over the place, that's not excessive. And it actually took us a while to find this. And everybody tell us they can all produce grow lights. That's the best part. Yep. So we did real measurements to document it. So then that's the science. We need to cater for the plant's requirements. Next, we also need to care about the people and how they're going to view this excessive light. So with a creative narration, we talk about how can we, create the feeling of a forest in the day and then transforming it into a garden at night. And we also need to bear in mind that we are not, the plants actually need to sleep and we cannot turn on the lights the whole time. Yeah. So this is the eventual idea that we have. And because of the very difficult mounting positions, because of the photosynthesis that takes place in the leaves, the light needs to come top down. It cannot be throwing from bottom up. Yeah. So we do not have a lot of mounting options as well. Yeah. So in the day and then in the nighttime, it actually dims down so that the lighting can still be seen from around the guest room corridors, because the check-in can be any time of the day. Yeah. So we need to carefully consider how people will see from top down as well, and also assessing the bridge. So the challenges begin, they started tearing things down, and then, they start building this. They're going to transform this into a garden. And then the plants, our new clients started moving in. And of course, at that time, we were still very afraid, because are the trees really going to survive? And then we saw how they are transported. That also scares us quite a bit, They have been tied up like this. So we were really quite nervous whether the plants and the trees can really survive. Yeah. So this is when the project is finally done. Okay. There are quite a number of species and plants inside there. Okay. So this actually became a very interesting case study for us. So from top down, we can actually see the plants. Yeah. And actually, this is the view from the bridge. Okay. So this was done in 2020. Yeah. So these are actually some of the public areas. So you can see that the light is not excessive, it's quite well balanced. And, it's still a very comfortable environment. And people did not actually realize that they are grow lights. Yeah, so this is the garden in 2020. Okay. Yeah, this is the garden in 2020. You can still see there are patches of empty spaces. Okay, so how do they do? Well, so in 2021 in August, we took photos, and then we are very happy that actually the plants are adapting very well. There's only one particular species that did not seem to survive or like the grow light no matter what happens. Okay, so we have to change, the hotel actually changed that out. Okay, so this is the comparison. And then, you can see the new shiny leaves actually, coming out. So this became quite an important landmark or signature of the hotel. And the hotel actually went on to win quite a number of sustainable awards, for this. So this is actually other views. And this is actually the view from top down later on. Yeah. So we also, in another space, we also have a very difficult green wall, which is 30 meters high. So we didn't want to use we need to control it because the receptionist is just standing there. So we definitely do not want her to stand under, a pool of stadium lighting. Okay, so that's why we have to really control and make sure that the energy that we have, whatever, is channeled for the sole purpose of the grow lights, and also to balance it and make sure there is a form of architectural lighting. So this is in 2020 versus 2021. So the amazing part is you can see that, the plants are actually thriving. And this is a very successful case where you don't have very unnatural looking environment in the hospitality space. Yeah. Okay, so next, we would like to bring you to Dubai, to the World Expo. So, interestingly, the affinity for grow lights never stopped there. The research continues. This time is whereby we have to balance not just the functional aesthetics of greenery lighting for the plants, but also, to actually turn it into a theatrical show later on for the human aspirations of showing the pavilion as a theme. Yeah. So this, again, wanting to showcase to the world about Singapore, and we actually have tropical plants here, all brought over from Singapore. So this became a challenge again, because this is in Dubai, in the desert. We have ample daylight, But the problem is, because of the way that the architecture and the plants are shaped and brought together, we have, again, challenges that daylight do not reach certain areas, especially the hanging gardens. Yeah, so simulations of daylight, sun path was done to identify areas whereby we do not have, enough daylight at certain times of the day. And this simulation was done even without the neighboring pavilion, so we actually have less daylight. Yeah. And then we also introduced like solar tubes, to bring more daylight in, but that is not able to, complement the whole area. So while thinking about this, of the plants, about the show that we need to deliver to the world, so we started bridging this about how the science and the art can come together to support the plants and the human experience. So we created this narration, and we told, that while entering this tropical forest, people should be enjoying the garden and tell the story of this nature. So we started working with the grow lights manufacturer to double use all the fixtures, in the pavilion, that they can double up as a show to improve the control system, so everything becomes a part of show. We don't have excess lasers shooting up into the sky and things like this. So this is actually this was the intention, to show the heartbeat, the pulsating heartbeat of the forest. So from introducing, we wanted to manifest the idea of showing the spectrum, the colors that is usually camouflaged by daylight. So we created a whole narration. The lights are also quite dimmed so that it allows the plants to sleep at night. Yeah, because we don't want to overly tax the plants as well. So then the interesting part begins when we started commissioning the pavilion. Yeah, and all things, all the aiming to make sure that the coverage of the grow lights are working. And we have to climb into some deep pits, to make sure that we can actually see the aiming of the grow lights and checking. And so the final product is actually done. Yeah, so from the balance of, supporting the plants of biophilic design to incorporating it back into something theatrical, to create a light show that, we do not use more fixtures. That was quite important to us. So the visitors, it is a show, so visitors can take photos, to actually show, to Instagram and things like this. Yeah, so it becomes a journey telling the story of the nature, and every experience is slightly different. Yeah, so these are other views, okay, to show the journey while moving up the canopy walk. Yeah. So this is actually one of feature where there's also the special art installation happening, and this area has completely no daylight as well. Yeah. So that brings me to the end of my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this special episode of the Virtual Lighting Design Community Podcast. We hope that you found Yah Li Toh's presentation on biophilic design inspiring and informative. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment or a review, and share this episode with friends and colleagues if you found it valuable. Your support means the world to us, and we look forward to bringing you more compelling content in the future. So be sure to join our online community at www.vld.community for further engagement and resources. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.